The buzz around AI tools lately,
Mm-hmm.
it's just everywhere, isn't it? Feels like you can't escape it. We've heard from you, feeling a bit swamped by all the names: ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Grok. It's a lot. So this deep dive, we want to cut through that noise, help you find the AI companion that actually fits what you need.
Welcome to the deep dive. Yeah, today we're tackling exactly that, what you call the matrix of AI tools that's just taken over in 2025. We're going to dive into 5 of the big ones: ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, Perplexity, and Grok. And our mission really is to help you get a handle on their strengths, maybe some weaknesses too, those sometimes confusing privacy settings, and, figure out if splashing the cash for a paid version actually makes sense for how you work. Whether you're creating content, studying, or honestly just curious, it's all about making smart choices for your own AI toolkit.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Maybe we start with the one that feels almost synonymous with AI for a lot of people, ChatGPT. It really has become that sort of all-around player, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like a go-to virtual assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. ChatGPT is fantastic for just kicking off ideas, brainstorming. If you're planning a project, maybe figuring out a business strategy, it's great for exploring different angles. And it's surprisingly good with documents too. Summarizing a hefty contract, pulling key info from a report. It handles that stuff pretty well.
So it's not just spitting out text, it's actually kind of engaging with the material,
Yeah.
understanding what's there.
Exactly. It shows real strength in logical reasoning, step-by-step problem solving. It's huge for complex tasks. Oh, and a big one-image generation. With Daily 3 integrated, you get some really high-quality images. Great for social media, presentations, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, no tool's perfect. For all that versatility, where does it stumble? What are the limits?
Well, even though GPT-4o is a big improvement, there's still the context window. Basically, how much info the AI can remember at once. It's about 128,000 tokens now, and a token is just a small piece of text or code. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but for really, really massive documents or super long chats, it can still hit a wall. Think of it like the AI's short-term memory, its workspace.
Right, so if the document's too big for its workspace, it starts forgetting the earlier parts.
Precisely. And maybe the biggest thing to watch out for, honestly, with most AI tools, ChatGPT included, is accuracy. It can hallucinate, basically, make stuff up or give you wrong information. So you always got to double-check anything important, especially for business or academic stuff.
That hallucination point.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's critical. I've seen that cause real headaches.
Yeah.
Does that risk connect to privacy at all? Or is that a separate worry?
Privacy is definitely a huge one. By default, pretty much everything you feed ChatGPT conversations, uploads, they use it to train their models. So you absolutely need to dive into the settings and turn off data training. That's key. And for anything really sensitive, maybe use the temporary chat feature they offer.
Okay, so number 1, turn off data training.
Yeah.
Got it. What about the money side? Free versus paid. Is that $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus actually worth it?
Yeah, good question. The free version gives you some access to the latest model, GPT-4o, but you'll hit message limits, and the voice and image stuff is pretty basic. ChatGPT Plus, for $20 a month, it unlocks the really powerful models, gives you a much bigger context window, unlimited image generation, the full voice features, custom GPTs. Honestly, if you're a power user, a content creator, someone using it a lot for business, probably worth it. If you're just using it casually for simple things, free might be totally fine.
Okay, so for someone just starting out, maybe doing everyday tasks, how worried should they really be about those hallucinations?
It just means always, always verify anything critical, even stuff that seems like a simple fact. Just double check.
Right. Now, moving on, you also highlighted Claude. This one seems to be carving out its own space, focusing maybe more on privacy and certain creative style.
Yeah, Claude really shines in content creation. It often produces writing that feels incredibly natural, maybe even empathetic. Like if you needed to write a really sincere customer apology email, Claude often nails that tone. A big part of that is Anthropic's whole constitutional AI thing. They train it on ethical principles, almost like giving it an internal compass. So it aims for more balanced, responsible outputs.
An ethical compass. That's fascinating. So it's not just about what it creates, but how it creates it responsibly.
Exactly. And it's pretty solid for coding, too. Writing code, debugging, explaining concepts. Plus, for folks deep in the Google world, the paid plans integrate with workspace apps like Gmail, Drive, which is handy for productivity.
Okay, but where does it maybe lag behind a bit?
Well, its context window, 200,000 tokens, it's decent, definitely, but smaller than some others if you're analyzing truly enormous documents. And its multimodal features are limited right now. It can look at images, analyze them, but it can't create images, and it doesn't handle audio or video input yet.
Hmm. And that brings us back to privacy. You said privacy first. How is Claude actually different there?
This is probably Claude's biggest edge. Unlike most others, Claude does not use your conversations to train its models by default. That's a huge deal for anyone really concerned about data privacy. It's opt-in for training, not opt-out.
Okay, so that default is a key difference. Makes sense. What's the story with free versus paid for Claude?
The free tier is a bit more limited. You get the Claude 3 Sonnet model, which is good, but you'll hit daily usage caps faster. Paid plans are great if you're doing a lot of content creation, coding, or if privacy is just top priority for you. You also get the more powerful Claude 3 Opus model for tougher tasks. But if you need image generation or you're routinely working with absolutely massive files, maybe look elsewhere or combine it with another tool.
So for someone who really prioritizes that ethical AI angle, how does Claude's design help with that specifically?
It just helps make sure the outputs are more balanced and, responsible, especially if you're dealing with sensitive topics.
Okay, let's shift to the heavyweight you mentioned, Google Gemini, the Goliath of document analysis. But also one people seem to have strong feelings about, love it or hate it.
Huh, yeah. Its absolute killer feature is that massive context window. We're talking 1 million tokens standard, potentially up to 2 million. This is where things get really interesting. Like, imagine uploading a whole quarter's worth of market research docs and just asking questions about trends. Gemini can actually hold all that context.
Whoa, 1 million tokens. That changes things, doesn't it? For deep dives into corporate strategy or even just managing huge personal archives, you're not constantly breaking things down into tiny pieces for the AI anymore.
It's a total game changer for interacting with huge files. Gemini is also strong with multimodal stuff, text, images, it even analyzes video. A lot of users find it really good for generating ideas and tackling complex problems. And of course, if you live in the Google ecosystem, it just slots right in seamlessly.
Right. So with all that power, where does it struggle? What are the downsides people experience?
Despite all that analytical power, its creative writing output can often feel, well, a bit dry, lacks personality, even if you give it detailed style instructions. For really creative stuff, other tools generally feel more natural. And like others, it can definitely have accuracy issues. Sometimes gives wrong info and can be kind of stubborn if you try to correct it, which gets frustrating.
Interesting. And the privacy. Being Google's AI, that's always a big question mark for some people. How does that stack up?
Yeah, it's pretty standard Google practice. By default, your conversations and uploads are used for training. You have to actively go into your Gemini app's activity settings and opt out. And naturally, because it's plugged into the whole Google ecosystem, there's just potentially more data integration happening compared to, say, Claude.
Okay, so opting out is crucial there too. What about the free versus paid setup for Gemini?
The free version gives you access to Gemini 1.5 Flash. It's pretty capable for everyday stuff, but you'll hit caps on uploads, especially large ones, and general usage limits. You'd really want to upgrade if you consistently work with those massive documents we talked about, if you're heavily invested in Google Workspace for business, or just need that super deep Google integration. Though, honestly, it's worth comparing it closely with ChatGPT Plus now, since GPT 4.0 also boosted its context window significantly.
And just to really grasp it, how does that massive context window really change the way someone might work with documents day to day?
It means you can have a deep, ongoing conversation with huge files. And the AI doesn't lose the plot. It remembers the context across the entire document.
Right. Now, switching gears a bit, your notes also point to Perplexity. This one's position is more of a specialist, right, for research and fact-checking.
Exactly. Perplexity's main draw is fast search with citations. This is huge. Unlike some AIs that might just invent sources or information, Perplexity actually shows you where it got the answers so you can verify things yourself. It's really good for getting up-to-the-minute info, think latest tax rules, current events, that sort of thing. Plus, the paid version lets you access multiple different AI models all in one place, and it even integrates with social media like Reddit to gauge public opinion.
Okay, citations are key. Are there downsides to being so focused on research?
Yeah, a couple. While it has a deep research feature, some users feel it doesn't always go quite deep enough for really extensive academic or professional projects. And it's definitely not designed for creative writing or brainstorming. That's just not its lane.
Makes sense. And privacy. with a tool that's constantly pulling real-time info. How does that work?
Perplexity logs your usage and queries by default, similar to some others, so you'll need to manually opt out in the settings if you don't want your data used for training. They do state that pro users get better privacy protections, though.
Okay, so default logging, manual opt-out again. For that dedicated researcher you mentioned, what's the free versus paid situation?
The free plan is pretty limited. You only get about 5 pro searches. They're more advanced search every 4 hours, and fewer sources are consulted. The paid version is really for people doing heavy research, constant fact-checking, needing current info with reliable sources. Accessing multiple AI models and the social media search are also pro benefits. It's mainly about lifting those usage caps and getting more thorough source searching.
And why are those citations such a big deal, practically speaking, for critical research?
They let you trace the information back to its origin. You can verify it yourself, which builds trust in what the AI tells you. Huge for accuracy.
Got it. Okay, final tool on our list today, also from your insights, Grok. This one's tied closely to X, right? Formerly Twitter.
Yeah, Grok is pretty unique because of that tight X integration. That's its main thing. It's excellent for real-time information, especially current events and breaking news, because it's pulling directly from X's live data stream. It also has a distinct personality. It's more casual, sometimes a bit edgy, definitely less corporate feeling than the others.
Yeah.
And if you're already an active X user, that integration feels pretty seamless.
Okay, real-time X data. What are the big drawbacks then?
Well, its biggest weakness is that it's pretty niche. It relies so heavily on X data, which really limits how versatile it is for anything else. It's not going to be great for writing long articles, doing deep academic research, or complex problem solving that isn't centered around X conversations. And, because it's pulling so much from social media, fact-checking is even more critical. You got to be careful.
That edgy personality you mentioned, that sounds interesting. How does that actually affect using it compared to the more neutral AIs?
It can make chatting with it feel more engaging, maybe even fun sometimes. But you have to be comfortable with its particular tone. It's not always going to be formal or diplomatic.
Okay, and privacy, given that X connection.
It's all tied into your X account. You need to opt out of data training through your main X account settings. And naturally, its privacy policies are just governed by whatever X's current terms are. It's all bundled together.
Right, tied to the main X account. So is there a free version, or how does the pricing work?
There isn't really a standalone free version of Grok itself. It comes bundled with an X Premium subscription, which runs about $8 a month. So upgrading is really only something to consider if you're already paying for X Premium anyway, and you specifically want that real-time social media data right inside your AI tool.
Okay, that makes sense. Only if you're already in the X Premium Club.
Yeah.
Sponsor read placeholder.
So if we kind of zoom out and synthesize the big idea here, drawing from all the research and user feedback you gathered, it really seems like choosing an AI tool isn't about finding the one single best one, right? It's much more about understanding your specific needs, your workflow, and then matching the tool's strengths to what you actually need to do.
Exactly. It's much more about building your own personal AI ecosystem. Like if you could only pick one paid tool, ChatGPT Plus at that $20 a month probably offers the best all-around value for most people. But then you've got Claude, which is fantastic for content creators needing that natural, maybe more empathetic voice. You've got Perplexity, the specialist for researchers who absolutely need accurate, cited, up-to-date info. Then there's Google Gemini for people wrestling with enormous documents needing that massive context. And Grok, really, for the heavy X users who need those real-time social insights.
Mm-hmm. And you can approach this with different budgets, too. You could definitely try a free-only strategy, right? Maybe bounce between ChatGPT for general stuff, Perplexity for quick research checks, Claude for some creative writing, just staying within those free limits. Or go for a single paid subscription. ChatGPT Plus is often that best value pick. But again, think about your main use case. A writer might genuinely prefer paying for Claude. And then for real power users, yeah, maybe having multiple subscriptions makes sense.
Right, like you can imagine a writer maybe starting a draft in Claude to get that natural tone and popping over to ChatGPT to generate some cool images for it, or brainstorm social media posts, or a researcher using Perplexity for that initial info gathering and source checking, then maybe importing a bunch of research papers into Gemini for that super deep analysis looking for connections. You know, I've personally noticed sometimes, especially after a really long chat, the AI can sort of subtly drift off topic, almost like it forgets the original goal. I still wrestle with that prompt drift myself sometimes, even with the tools I use all the time.
Yeah, that prompt drift where the AI kind of loses the thread of the initial instructions, it's a real thing, especially in complex back and forth conversations. But it also highlights why building that ecosystem is smart. You use the right tool for the right part of the job, they complement each other.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a constant reminder, isn't it? This whole AI landscape is changing so fast. New features pop up, models get better, prices even shift. Staying informed feels pretty key.
Absolutely. By really understanding what each platform excels at, where its limits are, and how that maps onto your needs, you can make much smarter decisions about where you invest your time and, yeah, your money too.
So maybe the mission for you listening is this. Start with one tool. Pick the one that seems to meet most of your immediate needs right now. Really learn it well, get comfortable with it. Then only expand your toolkit when you hit a wall, when a specific need pops up that your main tool just can't handle well.
Yeah, that approach definitely saves money in the long run and helps you actually get the most value out of the tools you do use.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Thinking about how fast things are moving,
Yeah.
how do you imagine your ideal AI ecosystem might look different? Just say a year from now, what might change?
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us. We really hope this helps you navigate the exciting, but yeah, sometimes pretty overwhelming AI landscape out there.